Wow, we are on time. In a good-sized group. Okay, this is economic development. Today's date is September 7th, 2011, and we're going to do a roll call. I'll start with Steve.
Steve Dutton, Planning Board Representative.
Andrew Cataract.
Derek Horn.
Marie Boyle.
Al DeRusso.
Steve Fournier.
Charlie Tentis.
Okay, first thing I want to do, I believe, I didn't grab the, do you have an agenda down, or is it right here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to get to the minutes for August 3rd. Had a chance to look at, anybody, let's see, nobody, the only one that was here.
It's just me?
Yeah. I don't know if you had a chance to
I
read
make a
it.
motion to accept.
Okay.
Can you second it also?
I'll second.
Derek will second. All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? But we have 1, 2, 3 abstentions.
So we had three, now
1,
it's
2,
fine.
3. All right, that was good. Okay. We'll jump right into this quarterly newsletter. I think in front of you, Derek, do you want to go over this?
Yes, this is the quarterly newsletter that we talked about at the August meeting, and Al had written out 2 articles that I've modified a little bit, just to show you what the template will look like and what kind of information. And what we talked about at last meeting was for everybody to think of a couple ideas on articles and bring them back so we could incorporate them. There was a spot for Main Street, and when I last talked to Robbie before she hurt her ankle, she said she was willing to do an article. So I need to contact her to see if she's still able to do that.
Okay.
She went back to work yesterday.
She did? Okay.
I don't know if any of you had a chance to look at this prior to tonight, but I thought it was a good start. It's getting the things in here that we're looking at in terms of talking about the directory and trying to promote some of the things like Goffstown Rail Trail. You got St. A's College, talking about recreation in town. The businesses in town, different challenges we face, obviously, with having 3 areas. You have Pinardville, Grassmere, and then the village. So it's a start for us to get this going, and I think Brian gave us this overview.
Well, this was more for the interviews. This was more for the
okay.
interviews that he was looking to do with Charlie for possibly GTV or YouTube, like he talked.
All right, let me hold off on that then. Let's go back to the newsletter. Can any of you think of some of the things that we want to be putting in here?
What's the apply today design featured design going to be? Is that a spot you're holding for something else?
No, that was when we set up the template. That was just a generic
Okay,
template.
so you're not looking to have some application here or
No,
something like that?
no. And I do have an article almost complete on 7090.
Oh, good.
With that to bring that to.
That'd be good.
So I do have that, but I didn't know if anyone else had any other ideas.
I like it. It looks good, clear, concise, quick to the point. The only thought I might have is that a calendar of events possibly.
Okay.
You know, in other words, for those events that are coming up, to date them, be it, you know, such as when Main Street puts on the Pumpkin Fest, or when we had the 250th thing, you know, obviously this is after the 250th, but just the idea of those, you know, coming events and dates.
Yeah, you say 250th, because when I first did this, I had thrown it in there, and then I says, by the time we put this out there, it'll be done and over with,
That's
so.
just about it.
Yeah,
But,
so,
but I mean, the length is, you know, you start getting longer, people start
They're not
putting
gonna read
aside.
it.
We
Right.
put these meetings in it,
Yeah,
just to remind the
Yeah.
other businesses if they want us to.
okay,
it's very clean.
Yeah.
Who took the photo, Al?
which one?
At the top there, with the flag.
I have no,
Deviance.
that was, we've had that for a while.
That's a nice shot.
I think that's on
Yeah,
our,
it is, that is nice.
it was
That's
on
on
the
the- that's-
website, it was a small one, right? I think originally, or something, there was
Good
a,
picture.
there was
Yep.
like 3 or 4. Actually, I think the sailboat was one of them too, at the bottom. But, yeah, I think, what I wanna do, one of the things I wanna try to do is to try to do something about new businesses in town that have just started up. I think that's important for us to push those out there. And, I know more than likely, Main Street will probably push the things that are new in the village, but they're not gonna do anything with anything that's in Pinardville. So we'll have to keep an eye on, in fact, I just ran into somebody this morning, and Wake Stillman, who coaches at Goffstown, the softball's got a sports place in that little green mall, right next to McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanna stop in there and see him, and get him to get on our website and
My
stuff.
directory.
So those are the things we can probably start, throwing something into, new businesses in town, in that first newsletter.
And could we even list it where if you put new businesses in town, and you can set it up in there, that if someone sees it, they can click on it, it's gonna take them right to where they are in the directory? Is that possible?
Yeah, yes, we could do it either right to there, yeah, to right in the directory, and then they could then link to their website if they
Right.
have one, yep.
At least kinda gives them a little bit of a boost right off the bat,
Yep.
versus having to go search for it in the directory.
Because you're just popping in a hyperlink that pops you to the other side of the
Exactly.
website.
Yep.
How do you find out about new businesses? Do they contact you, or they just show up? I mean, somebody starts a business, it's like, unless they contact you, you're not gonna know they're new.
Yeah, we try and have a pretty good handle with the planning department, the building department, and the fire department for if anyone comes in for any permits.
All right.
And then, you know, occasionally going out and seeing if there are any new businesses. You know, home businesses are very difficult.
Right.
Very difficult.
How about
to
if we can we go back the last, let's do the last 6 months for, you know, the 3 areas of town.
Yep.
And let's try to take a look and see if we have anything that's new. And, let me try to put something together as part of that newsletter that's, you know, welcoming them to town and encouraging people to, you know, visit, stop by and say hi and that type of thing.
Okay.
And then and then we'll also have something on there that says, you know, if you're a new business in town and you wanna be recognized, please let us know. You know, can't be everywhere, but try to get them on. Okay. Anything else on this? Tony, just curious here, we do have Goffstown Main Street. Is there anything that we could do for Goffstown Industrial Corp?
Not at present.
Okay. But if there is, you'll,
Yeah.
okay, all right, thank you. All right. So when do we wanna kick this off?
What I can do is I can finish up the 79E,
Okay?
the calendar events, and then get with the new businesses, and then if anyone had any ideas before the October meeting, and we can have a final draft to proof at the October meeting, and then send it
Okay.
out right after that.
All right, that
Would
work
you-
for everybody?
I was just thinking, instead of having to wait for the October meeting.
I can email it.
Email,
Email
email instead of waiting, I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then we can kick it off.
just, people just proofread, say, just give us, say, hey, I'm all set, and
Yep.
then you don't have to wait, and you can just publish.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, would it even be worth if something Robbie can include for the pumpkin regatta?
Yeah.
And that's what, when we talked about this over the summer, I said we were looking to do this at the end of September, early October. Something for the regatta would be perfect, even if it's a very brief, that then links to the calendar on Main Street's website. So,
Is it even worth mentioning anything about the 250th celebration?
I can talk
Just
to,
saying
I can
thank
talk to
you.
Elizabeth and Scott and see if they wanna put something in,
Yeah, a mini recap.
about the parade or any recap.
We still have any events coming up in October for that, or is
They
that?
have the parade that's on the same weekend, it's on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so that could be put in there. All right, now so the quarterly newsletter itself is gonna be,
Set this up as a fall 2011.
okay, all right, okay.
Can I just add one other thing?
Yep.
Is this something during the quarterly seasons? Obviously, we're gonna be changing the pictures.
Yep.
One other thing is maybe, as we include all three villages, maybe include something from Grassmere, or something from Pinardville, so they feel included also.
Yeah.
This looks great, though.
Okay. All right, the next one is this is something I think that Brian Hanson had put together. We try to do something, I believe, with the TV. I'll read it aloud so that those people that are watching have an idea. This is just the first draft, getting to know Goffstown business. To raise the visibility of Goffstown businesses by interviewing their principal characters on an entertaining public access television program. The interviews will be friendly, conversation based on a series of questions, and a casual visit to the business. Interviewer will be asked questions which will be taped, edited, and presented to the public access TV and posted on YouTube, but we would instead of posting on YouTube, we'd probably post it on here, right?
Put a link in there somehow.
I think as you post it on YouTube, we'd create a YouTube account, but it would be linked we
Okay.
could link it from the newsletter or the website.
Okay. I'm sorry, and with multimedia links from YouTube to EDC, I guess I should have finished reading the sentence, that'd have been all right. This will increase visibility for the EDC program and raise EDC's website search engine optimization. Interviewees will sign a release and EDC will own the content. So the purpose of this is the questions are designed to teach us about the services that each business provides to the town and the personalities that make businesses run in Goffstown. The question should reveal the business owner's attitude about the business environment in Goffstown. Some things we might hope to learn would be what works, what's working and what is not. The question should be conversational and fun so that we can establish a sense of community in the town by learning about our business neighbors. So you can see the questions that are listed on. He's got, he says, 10 questions, and he threw a bunch of things down here. Obviously, the name of the company, where they're located, how long they've been in business, information if they're on Facebook or Twitter, and that information. What product or service do you provide? Is there something that makes you different from your competitors? What is Goffstown? What is it about Goffstown that made you choose to open your business here? Did you consider other towns? Do you have any branches of your business? How's Goffstown different? And then he's got another one, 20 words or less. What would you like everyone to know about your business? And then tell us something about your business that nobody else knows. What do people most like to spend money on? What does simply not sell in this town? Again, these are ideas and just things throwing out that we can look at. What's the best advice you can give other businesses in this economy? What's the future of your company? What's in the crystal ball? What are other businesses in Goffstown do you find interesting? Kind of businesses are missing in town? What would you change to make it easier for new small businesses to open in Goffstown? Were you faced with unusual challenges when you started your business in town? What's your personal story? How did you get to Goffstown? A description, three words or less describe Goffstown. And home style or extra crispy, just kidding. But anyway, this is just some thoughts as to a possibility of doing this. I think what the thought being is basically a business interview with people, but trying to keep it not a professional type thing, but kind of like the man on the street sort of interview. You catch somebody working outside at their business and you sit down, you take a few minutes of their time and try to talk to them about business and try to see if we can promote businesses in town by getting this stuff out. And then we get it on TV, and we can do it in a series of clips or something, there are multiple clips, so it's not like a 1 hour show of watching all these different things, where we can throw probably different clips on or something.
How long would we want each clip to be?
Well, I guess that depends on what we have for information and how, there are some businesses that will have a lot to it. There'll be other businesses that may be a home business. We may decide, okay, let's take something that, let's look at the home business section and see what we have for home businesses and take a couple and try that. Couple into a manufacturing business, a retail business, and kind of throw a few of them together type of thing to see how they would mix together. Instead of just taking all the main businesses that we normally have, we can just take a few and try it and see what it does.
Which makes sense over different business categories and different businesses.
Yeah, and we can look at our listings that we have and kind of get a feel for, what we want to take out of it. I know Brian indicated that he would be willing to do it. I think he's got your name down here, and Charlie.
Be happy to do it.
Yeah. So, I'd be willing to help out in getting involved with this too. So, I mean, it's, but I think what we probably need to do is try a few and see where we want to go. I think the name of the company, obviously where they're located. I mean, we want some general information so people say, oh yeah, I've heard that place before, but when they're tucked away, if I mention the sports place that I talked about before, he's in that green strip mall. From the road, you don't necessarily see it, but when you see where it's located and you talk to the person, oh yeah, I know where that place is. Because as soon as the person told me this morning where it was in a green strip, I said, oh yeah, I know where that is. So that type of stuff that we would need to move to do.
If they're gonna be on YouTube, they probably need to be a little bit shorter, though, I would think.
Well, I'm almost,
15-minute thing on
exactly.
YouTube.
I mean, even 10
Right.
minutes, I think,
Right.
I mean, if you go maybe 5, a longer
Right.
one might be 7 or 8.
So it depends on where
We're
they're gonna
stretching
be.
there. I think you've hit your limit.
Right.
Well, I think if you go through some of the stuff with somebody, then you sit back down at the station and you edit what you want to
True.
put together.
Good point.
So even though you may spend 15 minutes with somebody, you're gonna probably take 2 minutes, or maybe even 1 minute out of what they have and throw it on, with a couple of others. And we can entitle it, this is your town type of thing, or, some sort of catchy line that says, learn some things about your town that you may know or not know, or something like that.
It could always lead into some type of series or longer thing on
Yeah, and if you wanna know,
Goffstown TV. if
more
things
about
like that,
business,
yeah.
you can we can put some stuff on here, contact them, and I think this is one of the ways that we can help the businesses in town
Yeah.
to get their name out
People
there.
who like them could share it through Facebook to
Yep.
their friends and, get some marketing out.
What I don't know, and a little naive on this part, is on the hits. How do we know how many people, well, obviously if it's on TV, we're not gonna know how many people are doing that, but if it's on,
With YouTube, you can see how many people viewed it.
okay,
You know, it'll say, 16 views or 50 views.
right.
And our IT department has the ability to track how many hits are on different,
Yes.
on different web pages as
On
well.
as well, okay.
Good.
Because I think that would be important for us, to know, how's it is it being viewed, and if it's not being viewed, how can we get people to view it?
Right.
Or maybe it doesn't make any difference to people, at the same time.
And even if you use some of the businesses, I'll use an example. Say we go see Frank at Victor's, Frank and Diane, or John at Sully's, and not only the big guys, but the ones that have more exposure in the community.
Yeah,
Is, maybe even do an 8.5 by 11 sheet with the YouTube. Say, hey, did you see us on YouTube? Did you see us on the town website? Little placards like that they could put on their door saying, what's this? Geez, I ought to check it out.
yeah.
Something like that, just to give it even more exposure. They could put it up in their place of business. And make it fun, like you're saying, airy,
Yeah,
fun,
yeah.
light, not too heavy and business-like.
Yeah.
People aren't gonna watch it.
And we don't want it silly, but at the same time, we want it to be relaxing
Right.
and.
Relaxing and factual, and it can be very, very good.
So what are you gonna call it?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Well, we have Teds, we can have bats, and I don't know, whatever you want. I'm just saying, you might want, you're gonna have to call it something. And you're up at bat with Al, businesses around town. I don't know, just throwing it
Well,
out there.
yeah, I think there's a number of things, I mean, we can do the interviews, and then we can start promoting what it's gonna
What
be.
it's gonna be, eventually you have to
We
do
can
something.
promote it on the website, we can promote it, we can even do something with, some sort of news release or something that lets them know that this is going on. And then while they're putting this stuff together, maybe they'll come up, maybe somebody will say something that'll be a catchphrase of some sort that says, hey, we can do that.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah, no,
I'm sure it'll grab its own
Something-
legs, just throwing that out there.
Yep, no, I think it's a good question.
You got a time frame on these, or, where you'll be starting? I'm not pushing it to an agenda, I'm just curious.
I guess my only question would be, we need to figure out what kind of equipment we need, so I don't know if Charlie, if you said you had been interested in talking with GTV, if you're still willing to do
If
that?
it's something, yeah, I think the key thing would have some type of a camera, a microphone that we could use. It can be pretty basic.
Yeah.
And then as we do it a few times and you ad lib and you're sharing and talking with these people, certain questions, may work with other companies, or businesses, and you don't have to do them all.
We do have a professional down there, what do you think, Andrew?
They have them there.
You want me to say something?
Yeah, come on down, come on, Andrew,
down.
come on down. Put some thoughts in here.
Certainly, what Charlie's asking for is very practical. We have cameras, and we have all the equipment you could possibly want.
Mhm.
You're welcome to borrow.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's just a matter of deciding what day you're gonna do it and who we're gonna contact and.
Weekdays during the day are kinda hard, but
Yeah.
you're at work, but you've got Saturdays, you've got
Yeah.
early evenings, if we could, wouldn't it be kinda fun to be walking into Sawyer's and right at the counter, we start talking to them, you kinda, like we're walking down Main Street
Yep.
and doing it.
Yeah.
And that
The only
can
thing the only
create-
thing we probably should do is throw a heads up to them that we're coming.
Oh, yeah, most
So
definitely,
that's,
right.
what's this?
Yeah.
Camera crew?
Yeah.
What did I do?
And then they freeze and they don't know what to say. No, that's understandable.
Who made that pizza?
Even to the point where you may even say something, just kinda like, here are some of the questions we'd like to ask you.
No,
So they have a comfort level
I
as they're
agree, and
thinking and answering.
I think what we have in here is kinda neat, and it doesn't have to be the same for every business.
Right.
You can do different
Change it up.
things and change it up and
Yeah.
kinda come up with a mix.
Yep.
Even if it's only, 4 questions or 5 type of thing, so. And then after you go through and you edit, that's the neat part, is editing, because you can kinda mix and match the way you want on something. All right, key is getting over to GTV to do that. Is there a particular night that's good for you? I mean, I'll have to let Dick know that we're interested in going over.
I mean, sometimes I just leave here and walk over and say, Dick, what's a good night to come by and see you? And he'll say, whatever.
All right.
I'm not sure, is he always there?
No,
No.
No.
He's there Saturdays. Saturday would be a good time.
Saturdays, during the day?
Morning?
In the morning.
Question for, if you don't
Yeah.
mind, can we tap Andrew again?
Yep, we can tap him
You don't
anytime.
mind, if you
No.
don't mind, okay. So if this was a situation where they, essentially where they wanna do is bring it to the establishment, they'll film the establishment outside and they can speak with them inside the establishment, do you see any concerns or roadblocks in that process?
No, but you have to ask their permission before you can film.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
So catching customers, whatever, not recommended necessarily.
okay.
The surprise tactic doesn't usually work.
I wasn't meaning the surprise tactic, but actually just going on location, shall we say.
Going on location is great. And, we have all the equipment and we'll be happy to advise. That's a good idea.
Are there time slots that work better? I mean, I realize we're just talking, in general. Are there time slots that let's say once we meet with let's say once he meets with Dick, is this something that's normally done in evenings, or how does this work?
Whenever you want to. We'll let you
Really?
have the equipment and you go off and do it and bring it back and we'll help you edit it and produce it.
Yeah, that's the big thing is editing, so.
Right.
If
And-
they're
and-
willing to do that.
I mean, having to meet with an owner, as long as we can get with them, they feel comfortable, they have an idea of what we're gonna be asking them, and you set the parameter where you're gonna be, and you're right, you don't wanna be including, customers or other individuals like that. And then just try to work it out. It may mean, a Thursday night at 7 PM. Okay, and that's when you do it.
9 o'clock this Saturday, you available?
Yeah.
All right, why don't I meet you there at 9?
Because essentially, you're making a free commercial here.
Yeah, basically that's what you're doing. I'll get a hold of Brian Hanson and let him know we're gonna be going there at 9.
Okay, and then I'll give you Dick's contact information, you can just confirm with him.
All right,
I'm happy to help with filming if you need a
You-
cameraman.
okay, great, great.
Are the cameras digital now, or are they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to join? You're welcome to join us Saturday at 9 if you're available. If not, it's okay.
Where now, at the high
At
school?
GTV at the high school.
Um,
I'd recommend 10 rather than
10?
And that would only
Yeah,
be
he
to
won't be
learn how to
until
use the
10.
camera from my perspective, I imagine.
Yeah, we'll go over some things. And I would assume we have to do some sort of releases with these people, these businesses to sign.
If they ask for one, you want to release because you want to own it. You won't have no issue with copyright, yes, you would.
I think he does
Okay.
have-
And you guys probably have
Sign
forms.
in below.
Yeah, he has one right here.
They
Okay,
have forms, I'm sure.
all right.
He does have that listed.
Don't you remember the form you signed before you came in here today?
It is
Don't,
listed.
I don't remember
Yeah, I
that. Right.
Okay. All right, and then we can probably discuss, take a look at our lists of businesses. Let's discuss some possible hit lists and see if we can get them contacted and,
I like the idea of
Try
new
it.
businesses, featuring some new ones.
Yeah.
I think you need to get a good mix of existing, new,
Yeah.
as well as Grassmere Village,
Everywhere.
Right.
Bernardville.
Yeah.
so I mean, you may end up doing 3 in each area and then coming back and say, okay, this is what we're gonna take this time through and leave the rest on the cutting floor, but use it at another time. And you could do 3 of them. If you do, 3 different times with 3 different types of businesses, you do different ones. So it doesn't always have to be the same one that's out there. All right. Good. Anything else to add to that one? Okay,
That's gonna be fun.
excellent. Alrighty. So it's quarterly news, GTV promotions, discussion, we could basically kinda went through that. And, business directory update. A lot of this will help, once we get this on the website, a lot of it will be people being able to just go directly into the website and sign themselves up and stuff,
Right.
so.
One
that'll
thing, if I
help.
could add to that,
Yeah.
Al, is making some of these calls. I just sent Derek another update last night. I'm finding the owners that I talk to are very, very appreciative that they're getting a call. And that they do want to add more and more information as I talk with them. And especially the home-based businesses are actually surprised to be getting a call. When you explain it to them, what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve to help them with their business, thank you, and definitely include this extra information for me. So it's been good. It's hard to reach some of them during business hours when you work, but if you have the time off to call them, there are some success stories there. And they're appreciative that they're getting a call. So I found that to be a real positive.
Good.
I've been getting the same feedback. People are really happy for the opportunity for free advertising. I've gotten several comments saying,
Right.
you know, they think I'm soliciting them, and they start to say, well, our advertising budget's tapped out. And once I finish explaining them,
We have a free one for
they're
you.
pretty happy about it.
Great. Economic Development Plan.
I have been working with Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission. They have developed a scope of work, and we are still refining that. I hope to bring that back for the October meeting of what they would be responsible and what staff would be responsible, what volunteers could do. And I'll just let you know that moving forward with the budget for next year, for the admin side of it, I requested to bump EDC back to $4,000, which what it had been historically until this past year.
Okay.
And that's reasonable based on some of the figures I've seen so far.
Okay. The, one of the things that was discussed at the last meeting was trying to see if we could come up with an economic development plan. And looking at some preliminary figures, there's quite a bit of money involved in doing some of this stuff. Not that it's not worth it, but there's no way it's gonna fit in this year's budget, and it's almost like it would have to go to CIP.
Potentially, I think, you know, talking with Jack over there, Jack Munn, he has been receptive to, you know, them doing some of the work and staff to kind of dovetail it together to make it work for the town. So we're still refining that.
And the other thing too is that we probably will be doing a master plan update, I would imagine, in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that it could very well be part of doing that at the same time. So, anything else on that? I know that Tony, you wanna say a few words?
Only if Derek wants me to.
Yes, please.
A couple of weeks ago,
Just for the record, you are,
I'm Tony Martz, and I'm one of your alternate representatives to the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission. Southern New Hampshire Planning is applying for a HUD Sustainable Communities grant, and originally their proposal was to focus on the new Airport Road and Brown Avenue and Merrimack, Londonderry, those areas. Basically looking at a corridor that accommodated or covers that particular area because a lot of growth is expected. When that came across my desk and I sent it on to Brian and Derek, Derek suggested that it would be the type of thing that might be worth looking at for the Hillsborough County property, which of course had a recent planning charrette and talks about industrial, commercial, multifamily housing in those areas. We actually then met with Southern New Hampshire Planning, Derek, Brian, and the director of the Hillsborough County. I'm not sure exactly what his title is, but the executive director that runs the county commission there, as well as one of the commissioners. And we actually managed to convince Southern New Hampshire that they shouldn't stop at the Bedford 101, 114 intersection, but actually extend the planning area all the way over to the Hillsborough County land. Their original suggestion was to do two separate grants, with the Goffstown portion being a subset. But what you look at when you look at that entire area is almost a loop that comes all the way to the Hillsborough County land, which is important for us because 114 is potentially a critical gateway for industrial or commercial development on that corridor, especially the St. A's property, which we've been working with, and the Benchmark property that we've been working with on the other side. So my understanding now is that the grant is about $300,000 or $350,000. This week, actually, the grant application is being submitted. It will include Manchester, Bedford, Londonderry, Litchfield, Merrimack, and Goffstown. It will include the Hillsborough County Commission. It will include the Goffstown Industrial Corporation, all of whom are donating $6,000 in cash or in-kind services to meet the matching fund requirement of the HUD grant. The important thing for us in Goffstown is we become part of an airport planning process, essentially, which, of course, we've never really been close to that at this point. This also dovetails with some other work being done both at Southern New Hampshire Planning and the town of Bedford. They're working on a smart growth ordinance, you know, the newest and latest thing, which I can't give you the details on because I don't know. But Karen McGinley, who's on the commission, who's on the Bedford Planning Board, and who's from Divine Willamette, is leading that charge in Bedford. And the idea would be to kind of expand the initial work that Bedford is doing to create a multi-town overlay zone so that when someone is coming to look to build in this corridor, they essentially have the same type of zoning, the same types of rules and regulations, and the same perspective from each of our planning boards in terms of this is what we're all looking for to make that work, which would be really the first time, certainly in our area, that we'd be looking at a broader approach to land use planning. It would not include merging our planning boards, but getting all the planning boards to kind of look at these things the same way. Again, a huge benefit for Goffstown because we are in competition. Even though we've got this nice corridor, it's not all that big. When you add the Hillsborough County land, it becomes a much bigger area. But we're competing with, you know, Bedford's, 101 and Route 3 and Manchester and other towns that have a lot more going for them in that regard. So I'm really excited about it. We won't know until December, January, whether we make the cut at HUD. But I think everybody's convinced that making the program bigger is more likely to get us some real notice.
Well, we got you here, Tony. I know the board took, Southern New Hampshire Planning came 2 weeks ago, if I remember correctly. We took the vote, and we voted to go with the $6,000 towards that seed money. And you spoke about Manchester, Bedford, et cetera. Are all of them all in at this point?
I'm not certain that
I
they're
was
all
wondering
in.
how far it's gone.
My guess is because they're looking for at a minimum in-kind contributions.
Correct.
They're all gonna be in.
They're all gonna, I mean, okay.
Because they're really gonna use the staff to develop a lot of those things.
And the thing we found interesting also was that Goffstown, the town itself was in, and also the industrial corp was in also. It's
Right.
actually a double up through Goffstown, so I guess they're gonna put some value in this. And like you say, once again, this is for a regional plan, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that grant, we find out in December?
December, January is, I think,
Correct.
when they're hoping to find out.
And if you do, I don't know if you know or not, I forgot the time frame. I believe I had asked them regarding next year, if the grant was to go through, how long for this regional plan to take place, and I got the impression they were talking through late spring to early summer. Does that sound
I
about
think
right?
that they'd get off the ground late spring, early summer, but it'd be probably a 3-year process to really develop this out. And it's a really good point. Goffstown's got 2 seats at the table.
Yeah.
Because the steering committee, which is the voting members, will have the town and the industrial corporation. And I don't think any other towns have that. Manchester Chamber and some of those other groups may be there as non-voting members, but since we have a selectman here, I do want to emphasize the fact this was Derek's idea, your economic development coordinator. So
Mr. Chairman, Eric.
it really came together well.
Good.
That's great.
That's all I've got.
So, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions for Tony? No? Thank you, Tony, appreciate it. All right, any other business to bring forward to tonight? No? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn then. Oh, you don't, nobody wants to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Second, Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Thank you
That's
very
great to be
much.
What a
included in that corridor
surprise.
now, expanding.